Welcome to Bigfoot
and the Bunny.
This is a couple's journey into the mysterious,
the unknown, and the paranormal.
I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm your host, Kristen Johnson.
Together we are Bigfoot and the Bunny.
Welcome to Bigfoot and the Bunny. I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I am Kristen Johnson today.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
As you guys can see, we are together. We are back when things are great, and we have an awesome show. Are you not
We
psyched?
do.
I am so psyched.
Very psyched for this.
It's been a tough week, a long week, a little crazy week, but we are so happy to be here and so happy that you guys are joining us. We want to talk about our guests and bring them on pretty quickly because we have a lot to talk about with these guys. They are part of what is called the IDC Institute Mission Project, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But individually, we are featuring Sky Raye, medium Sky Raye, who was born as Amy Caprio in Central Pennsylvania. Sky Raye is a natural-born psychic medium. She is a spiritual healer, teacher, psychic advisor, counselor, evidential medium, and that's something we've talked about. That's the ability to produce evidence of your mediumship. Self-transformational coach as a forensic. Hello, Chris. Can I speak? Psychic medium. She works with law enforcement or unsolved or missing person cases. Donating time to help solve missing person cases is one of the two ways she gives back to her community. J.W. Prather is the owner, founder, designer, and builder of IDC Devices Paranormal Investigative Equipment. He is no stranger to the paranormal, and with over 30 years of experience working with electrical components and electronics, he has been creating personalized paranormal equipment since 2010. Jay is not your typical equipment builder, though. His equipment is experimental and meant for seasoned investigators that focus on data, research, and correlation among different techniques used in an investigation. So, their mission statement as IDC is our goal is to explore the depths of supernatural mechanisms using quantum physics and mechanics, the metaphysical, a combination of ancient techniques, advanced technologies, as well as previously classified government research to experiment with space-time and alternate realities. And if you're a fan of the show, you know this is just like
right up our alley.
Right up our alley.
Kind of what I was trying to explain
made for us
with Katie and KT Stafford and how to make the measurements and everything. So this is going to be wonderful.
All right, let's bring them on. Hello, guys.
Welcome.
Hi. We're doing great. We are very excited to have you on and hear about your project and yourselves personally and how this all came together. I know, Jay, I did I pronounce your last name wrong?
Prather?
Is it Prather or Prather? I should have Prather.
Prather.
It's okay. A hard A.
All right.
Hard A.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. I should have asked you that while we were just talking backstage. Jay, you have a video this guy sent me where you kind of break down what this project is about. And I don't know if maybe you want to surmise a little of that, the different components of what's going into this, because it's a big project. We're not talking about, all right, we formed a paranormal team and we're going to a haunted house. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts in this.
Yes. Of course, I started out as just a builder, designing equipment. Of course, I was a retired master electrician. I knew about testing the environment. I've been in electrical all my life. And I started out designing equipment that I thought that other investigators would want to use. And it was equipment that I definitely wanted to use. And let's face it, most equipment that we would love to use on investigation sites, we just can't afford it. It's really high-tech equipment. It's very expensive. So that's where I started. And over the years, working with this equipment, my theories kept growing. The equipment kept growing to where I'm at the point where I am now with the IDC Institute. IDC Devices is where I came from. IDC Institute is basically what I'm doing now. And I'm building and designing equipment that will allow us to go out into the field and run these experiments based on what you just said about our mission statement. It allows us to delve into both sides, the metaphysical as well as modern known sciences. But we look at the ancient sciences. We look at everything that's come before, everything that we have now. But we also look at everything the government releases. We look at that, see how it fits in with our theories, and then. But here's the biggest difference: most of everything that's done in investigate or research now is done in laboratories, whether it's in institutes, universities, or the government. They do it in controlled laboratories. I'm just crazy enough to take all that, flip it on its head, create my own experiments, and then we take it out into these known, purported locations where people are experiencing stuff, and that's where we perform our experiments, is on site in those locations.
That's excellent. So you're saying you're taking things from like the laboratories of, say, parapsychology, places like the Monroe Institute, Dean Radin's work, and taking that out into the field to experience it in real time.
Exactly. Everything that I've been able to get my hands on that fits my theories, or even if it doesn't fit my theories, I look at it in my calculations as I'm going along to try to figure out, does something there relate? Such as, I don't have a collider. I wish I did.
Right.
But it's probably a good thing that I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But the Hadron Collider, they discovered the Higgs boson. Well, for years, I've hypothesized that something had to be slowing us down and speeding us up. And I was like, well, God's doing it, or a creator, or whatever, however, no offense to anybody, whatever you decide.
Sure.
Something's slowing us down. Well, now we know that they describe the Higgs boson as the God particle. And it supposedly will add mass to photons in order to slow those down so that they're not faster than the speed of light.
It determines the mass and the weight of the particle.
Yes, it just adds mass. Well, to me, if God, the creator, a creator, wanted to slow us down to where we live for 50 to 100 years, he would use something like that in order to slow us down. So we discover love, death, grief, ecstasy, desires, all of these things that he wanted us to experience. He would use something like the Higgs boson. When we look at spirit matter, some people can't say spirit matter, but spirit and matter are different, but they were both created equally. So spirit, whether you say energy, psyche, spirit, whatever, all of that energy was created in the blink of an eye. You could say God did it in Genesis, or you could say there was a big bang. Either way, all the energy that was ever going to be created was created at that moment. And it continues to travel forever.
Matter also is energy of a vibration, which what he's
Exactly.
talking about. So
exactly.
the frequency of the vibration and where he's going is what we're trying to do with the different conscious levels, is we're either trying to match or raise the frequency within these experiments to get the clients, how do I want to say that, Jay? Whatever the client is looking to
manifest,
produce for themselves, for their knowledge, because we're here to teach and help them in a high speed versus in a quick class. I've been teaching classes internationally for years, but what him and I coming together have figured out, we can do this at a faster rate to reach more people and to help more people. And it helps people in their daily lives in every area of their life with these experiments. It's not just we're ghost hunting. We're not ghost hunters. We're researchers. Right. We're inventors. We create. There's a
Yeah.
big difference.
I love this. And
Yes.
and just for our audience to clarify, you're trying to speak or communicate with or raise your frequency to the consciousness of either maybe a deceased human or some sort of non-human entity in a particular environment. Is that right?
Everything has a frequency.
Yes,
Everything
and
has
it's
a vibration.
I don't use the word ghost. And now I'm going to upset some people right now. There's no thing as a ghost. All of us have always existed, and we will always exist. What matters is when our photons or tachyons, which tachyons are theoretical,
Oh, yes.
when we slow down or speed up. So all the religions are really true and correct in the fact that we can have past lives, future lives. But I go even farther than that and say, well, we can have a life to the left or to the right or up or down. So
Simultaneously.
it's not just a life that I've lived now. Now, I could also live a life in a completely different dimension or on a completely different planet in a completely different body. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. That's Einstein. That's not JW. That's Einstein.
JW.
So everything that's been created was created in that moment. Now, matter changes. That's the difference between spirit or energy or psyche or whatever and matter. Matter changes.
Mm-hmm.
Energy can change, but they are separate, but they can come together. In other words, right now, I'm matter and I'm energy, and I've come together to be this handsome fella you see in front of you. But once you separate those two, or give me another 20 years, and it won't be exactly the same. But yet my energy will always be there. My energy will go on from here because it's always existed. So I don't necessarily like to use the word ghost. I'm not a ghost hunter. I don't look for them. I don't investigate them. I research energy and how we can transverse this. And I wouldn't even say universe, because universe doesn't even fully cover everything that's out there. When we leave here, we don't stay in this universe. We go beyond it.
That's right. I
fascinating.
agree
And
with you.
we don't like the term ghost hunter
No.
at all, and then we don't mean any offense to anyone when we say that.
No.
No, not at all.
Everything's labeled in their human terms. So,
Yeah,
you know.
and I don't want anybody getting confused. So I'm not trying to upset anybody.
No, you're fine.
I'm simply saying that I don't want anybody to get confused about what I'm doing. I'm not. That's just not what I do. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not what I do. And it's hard for people to wrap their heads around what I do. Usually when I start talking, their eyes roll back in their head and they walk away because it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, we'll take it. We'll take it slow. We'll break it down because you guys have a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of aspects to it. Sky, do you want to speak to your end of the project and the metaphysical side that you're bringing in?
Well, like I said, before we came on, when Jay and I first had met and did our first film together, we knew that there was something we had to work on together. And it's in terms of energy, the knowledge, and with the metaphysical part of it, we wanted to be able to create the altered states of consciousness, but we want to be able to try to use human participants and get them ready. So my part is to get them prepared and to read their energy, read the energy of the building, the property, anything that I get that comes in with my guides will tie in with whatever Jay needs. And I work simultaneously with him and the team to bring that together. I don't know, Jay, you can probably speak better for it. It's hard for me to speak because mine's more of like a knowing. Mine is my gifts. It's hard for me to explain, how it is that I'm working. And Jay did a lot of stuff, but I was behind the scenes because my daughter had been diagnosed with cancer,
Oh,
during our first experimental process. So he can probably explain better for me
what your
versus
gifts
me.
are, what your gifts are, and then we'll have Jay explain how it fits in. Like you are a psychic medium. I know you give classes as well. I just wanted to go a little bit there. So that is who you are.
Yeah, and I teach. I've written a book. It's 7-time best-selling author. What I do in that, it's an introductory book. I am still writing more, and we are writing another one. Jay and I are published in another book as well. It was a companion piece from the documentary that we had done from the prior film that's still in post-production. But as far as my life experiences, I've got 3 decades of training with consciousness, the subconscious level, the unconscious level, we can go on and on. But what I had to learn to do was learn my specific skill set, and where that came in with my part-time or full-time jobs throughout my 4 decades. I'm not going to say how old I am. But I was always working and helping people. And while I did that, I discovered what I was good at, like with the forensic mediumship, trans mediumship, physical mediumship. There's not just one way or one thing that I can do. I can be comfortable enough to not limit myself by fear stopping me with anything to do with researching and trying to find that knowledge that we've all been trying to do for how many decades.
Right.
And it's not going anywhere. You're seeing the same shit, the same people doing the same things and the same experiments. And that's just not what I wanted to do. Even with the mediumship. Yes, I do mediumship readings. Yes, I do the psychic readings. Not every, this is something people need to know. Not every psychic is a medium.
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
People
That's
don't know that. People don't know the difference between a psychic and a medium.
Right. They don't
I'm
understand.
a medium. I work with forensics. Jay and I both have a background in criminal law, criminal justice, and
Wow.
psychology, which on a whim was weird that we discovered this after we, learned who we were when we got to know each other. But everything up until now that we've done in our lives has played out to be what it is right now for the future to come. And what we want to be able to do is everything I've ever learned, everything I've ever experienced, that is my library. That is how I've had a hard life. So I have a bigger range of energy where I can expand it a little bit further and understand things a little bit deeper. And I'm not afraid to see or find out what I see or find out. So with the mediumship, there are different levels. With the psychic people, the past, present, and the future, they're just, that's your intuition. You get that from your clairs. Mediums have their clairs. But
Mhm.
there's
That's right.
still a big difference.
Absolutely. Things like psychic ability were proved in laboratories by people like J.B. Ryan.
Yeah. There's so many tests that have been done, and
Like statistics, right? So they go and they look and it's, well, you can predict this so many times in a row that just seems beyond, the natural mathematical ability to do so. But using those clairs, hearing the voices, being able to communicate with some sort of consciousness that isn't there in the room. That's
right.
more mediumship.
It's a trust. And it takes a lot of years. It took me 3 decades to build that trust, to then see the results and then trust that and believe in myself. You have to believe in yourself, number one, right?
Absolutely.
You only need one person to believe in you other than yourself, and that helps.
I've run more than the Institute can run more than right now, probably 30 different experiments on a very large level, up to 80 acres right now. A 70,000 square foot building is nothing for me to come out and completely wire this building back to my central computer and monitor everything that's going on in that building, both by audio and video. But about 10 of those experiments involve human participants. Those human participants is where Sky comes in helping, because I keep being told I have some kind of abilities. I haven't been able to really hone those. I think my abilities more or less are involved in being able to design and build the equipment and then run experiments with it. But Sky can help me with the humans who are involved in our experiments, what we call the participants. Now, I have discovered that most participants, well, actually, as of right now, all participants that have been involved in my experiments, even if they had no abilities at all, they had experiences. Now, those experiences, some of them we could verify, some of those experiences we could not verify after the experiment, but they still did affect the individual as well as the environment that we were conducting these experiments in. So that's where Sky comes in. She helps me with the part that I'm still a lot. Don't let me bullshit you. I'm still trying to wrap my head around all of this. It's why we do what we do.
Exactly.
But I have an easier time wrapping my head around quantum physics than I do wrapping my head exactly around what Sky's abilities are. So that's when I set her down and go, okay, what are we doing here? What are you doing? How do you think you're doing it? And then I take that and put it into my research and into what I'm doing when I'm working with participants.
How did that come about, JW?
Yes.
It's a lot of conversations. It's and I still just I have a hard time because I have theories about everything. That's why I don't sleep. My brain never shuts down. I've got these theories. I've got notebooks upon notebooks. The equipment I've built is only a part of the equipment I want to build. There's more equipment that I want to build that I may never build. And when I say equipment, I show up in a full trailer and I can wire a 70,000 square foot building in about a day and a half and run any experiment you could think of that's ever been ran in a laboratory. I can run it on your building.
Morningstar asked if you had an equipment list. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that, because I know in your Facebook post where you were defining what the project does, there was a lot of things I wasn't familiar with and some that we were familiar with in there. We were familiar with things like HemiSync, which I think is great that it's reaching the quote unquote paranormal world.
Yes.
And we've done experiments ourselves with that, running multiple channels using HemiSync tones with like spirit box stuff. You mentioned things like heavy water, and I'm not familiar with it at all, right? Like, how does that play?
Well, heavy water is really what they use to cool nuclear reactors. Heavy water takes a long time to create, and it's very expensive to create. But what some scientists have discovered is that when they run photons, lasers, through the heavy water, these photons were traveling faster than the speed of light. Somehow or another, by sending the lasers through the heavy water, they were basically recreating the Higgs boson in reverse in the way that they were removing mass from the photons, allowing them to travel faster than the speed of light. So I was like, well, shit, I got to get me some of this heavy water. And I can only buy it a few vials at a time. You got to be careful with that stuff. You start buying, number one, you can't afford to buy gallons of it. And I do need gallons of it because they start looking at you funny because there's only, I want to say 3 places on the planet that they create heavy water. So you start buying up a bunch of that, somebody in black SUVs is going to want to come ask you a few questions on what the hell you're doing with it. So I've also tried to create my own heavy water and experiment with it. But yes, it does seem to, that takes us back to mass and photons and traveling faster than the speed of light, which is, let's say you want to use the word ghost. How would a ghost go from one place to another? Well, they would have to travel faster than the speed of light. It's just that simple. If they have mass, they're going to slow down.
Right. Which where I come in, a medium, we raise our vibration to meet that higher frequency and vibration. And then you blend with
and
it.
I create all my own audio. All of my experiments are we create the audio. The Institute creates our audio for these experiments, whether it's the catalyst experiment where I'm preparing the environment, the audio for that, or if it's the peregrine experience where I'm sending audio for hemisync for the participants, or if we do a full world gate, which we haven't really talked about, that's the Omnia experiment. And that's where I just completely bombard the environment on a complete loop of everything we've just done in order to open a portal for a matter of 4 to 5 minutes. Now, everybody freaks out when I say open a portal, but sometimes it could just be as small as cracking a window. But what we're trying to do is see where the participants went and see if they can leave the door open behind them when they traveled so that we can visually see it and catch it and have that data. And it has only happened once, and it was less than 20 minutes total. And that was actually at the Conjuring House. I was there for 5 days.
No kidding.
Wow.
It's actually close to us.
That's like 10 minutes down the road.
Well, Corey's a good buddy of mine.
Oh, good.
So we were able to get 5 days there. We actually shot a documentary on that one. That documentary will be out, I believe, in October is when that documentary will come out. But yes, our goal was to open a portal at the Conjuring House and see what shook loose. And I'm going to tell you, it shook loose on the second. We only ran 2 of those experiments. We ran 5 experiments that week total. Only 2 of those take a lot of mathematical equations to come to. But it was very interesting on the second one for sure.
What is the name of that documentary? Sorry, Kristen.
That's okay.
I don't know exactly. Stacy Brown Jr. is the director producer on that one. We've kicked around several names. I don't know what the final name's going to be, but it looks like it could turn out to be Worldgate. But I'm not. They may come up with something a little more theatrical. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't get into that side.
Hopefully you can hear us okay. I know one of our audience members commented that the audio was a little messed up on my end. So that's why I stopped for a second. Just let us know. We have had some trouble with our board. It's been a little wackadoodle lately. So I'll make sure we sound good coming out there. You guys sound great.
Yes.
And I stopped and listened to everything. So I think everything's sounding all right now.
Yeah, you're good.
No.
Thank
you.
you.
Hear something in the stream that sounds weird or distorted,
yes.
we'll fix it.
My question was, and I'm sure a lot of people of our audience are thinking the same thing. When you open this door or this little window, how do you close it? Have you? Obviously you figured it out. So do you?
Well, yes. I have frequencies for everything. I have frequencies for the participants.
Okay.
To guide them through whatever it is we're going to manifest from beginning to end, which means the going out and the coming back. I have frequencies to separate frequencies that are used to as the catalyst experiment, which expose the environment, the house, the building, wherever we're at, to these certain frequencies to help aid not only the participants in what they're going to do, but help condition the environment to be more receptive of what the humans are going to do. We're more powerful than you think we are. And
The
then
intention.
the Omnia experiment basically opens and closes the portal. So I have frequencies for opening, frequencies for keeping it open momentarily, both through the catalyst and the participants. And then I have frequencies for theoretically closing it. Now, here's the thing.
Right. Theoretical,
I'm
right.
not crazy enough to think that I can keep this thing open forever and that I'm going to just Star Trek this shit. I'm not that.
I knew he was going to go here. I knew
I
it.
wish I could, but I'm not that ridiculous. I do have a little bit of common sense that tells me that even if I wanted to keep it open, that thing's going to slam shut when it wants to anyway. But with an abundance of caution, I try to do what my math tells me I need to do to make sure that I leave a safe environment when I leave.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. You know, our intentions are very powerful. It starts from the thought, then it goes to the heart space. And when you combine the thought to the heart space, that's how you manifest. But that's where we need to go in and we need to do the psychological and the mental checks. We need to do the property check. We need to make sure we're not dealing with something we don't know. That's where I'm coming in also. And I'm scanning everything. Jay and I run numbers.
It takes approximately 3 months to put together one 45-minute test experiment. Could take us 3 months to put together.
Wow. Oh, that's impressive. Now, if you are like fixing the frequency, when you say you close the portal, now do you in effect break the
like
location?
a ritual,
It's
right?
like you're haunted.
You're using,
Or-
Jay doesn't use these terms, but in my world, if your intentions are good and they're pure and your human subjects are good here, and there's something that they want to experience, can you imagine that initiation of opening and knowing what you need to use by being on that property or that location, by gathering the energy from reading it, knowing what's there. And when Jay's saying people freak out, opening and closing of portals, we do it every freaking day, whether you know it or not. We do it every day. It's either going to be a good experience or a bad experience. And that's for us to make sure we're okay, you know, and that's where we need to check in. And that's what we do too. We make sure we check in with everybody. And then Jay has a way for us to actually, you know, there's a start, there's prep, there's start, during, right, after, and the wrap up, which would be what did everybody experience?
And I do want to say that, yeah, we will have exit interviews before any participant moves to another area or talks to another participant. There's always exit interviews.
It's control.
Done immediately after the peregrine experience, in order for us to collect the data. But I do want to say this: the mental health of our participants is right up there. We do psych evals. We don't just let anybody go willy-nilly into one of our experiments without, you know, at least vetting them to make sure, because first and foremost is do no harm. You know, so you want to make sure that they're up for this task and that they fully understand what they're doing. Because some participants have had a great experience, and then the next one seems to be not so great. But after a month or two of follow-up, this is research. They're like, well, I think I understand it more now. I was upset that night, but I think I understand it more now, what I was experiencing. And so all of these things, this is why I say it takes 3 months to put one together. This isn't just, I don't even know. I don't know how to even
Right? It's not a couple of phone calls.
No one sees this outside of a laboratory from the CIA or what the Germans did or whatever. So when I roll up there, this is huge. There's
Yeah.
no way for me to fully let you wrap your head around it because it's taken me 13 years to wrap my head around what I built.
So what we're doing is, playing with these frequencies to get the vibration to where it needs to be
Mhm.
with the different experiments, which will be here for years if we talk about each one and what each one is individually. But as a breakdown with it, I think to help Jay, what we're doing is we're helping them, open different levels of their consciousness that may be blocked, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether you have abilities or not, or no.
Everybody
let me say
has
this
abilities.
different. Whether you realize you have abilities or not, we can help you unlock those and hone those over
Right.
time.
Right.
Now,
And if
you can, there are a lot of audio. There's a lot of audio out there that can help people with hemisync. YouTube is full of it.
But yeah.
it is, but it doesn't work for everybody always.
It doesn't work for everybody, and it's very generic.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is it's a scalpel. I'm going in, we're going in, we got 5 days to get this done. Everybody over a 3-month period, we talk, we have Zoom meetings. They know what's going on. They practice with the audio beforehand for a couple of months. They sleep with it. They listen to it on the way to work if they want to a little bit. I recommend that normally you're relaxed and but there's no instructions in the audio. That's just audio to help condition them to get them ready for hemisync. I need to get their frequency as low as I possibly can in tune with our surroundings.
Right.
And then synchronize the left side and the right side of the brain.
Are you talking about things like theta states?
Yes. Now, I will say this.
Yeah.
I will say this. They are hooked up to EEGs, and in my trailer are monitors for the EEGs for the participants. So their brain waves are not only being monitored, they're being recorded.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, number
Nothing's
one, that's
left unturned with this.
safety. Okay. But number two, what if 2 of your participants have simultaneous brain waves at a certain point in the experiment? Are you with me?
Yes.
You recorded this, and then you go and you do your exit interviews, and they give 2 compelling experiences where they think that they both experienced the same thing, but yet then you combine that with the fact that you've seen these brain waves happen between only these 2 participants out of 6. Now you're adding credence to what they're saying, that they experienced this and then they had matching brain waves.
Yes. Yeah,
Which normally our brain waves don't match. You hook up any 6 people and let them experience things. Their brain waves are going to be all over the place. They're not going to match up.
Right.
Yeah. This is a far bigger indicator of confirmation than say just the
Yes.
K2 meter going off, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I'm using EEGs. Yeah, you can have your K2, but I'm using an EEG. So
That's
yeah,
right.
we're not the same.
No.
I'm not saying we don't use K2s, but yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. We have some.
And I do design equipment like that for IDC devices, but mine of course have my own names on them, but they're not necessarily the K2s. Got to remember, I'm a retired master electrician. So I have worked all over the country in everything from huge hydro dams to hospitals to factories to skyscrapers. I know what energy is out there and what kind of meters do what. So when I design my equipment, I'm not looking for any of that. I design my equipment to find what is anything that's not that. And unfortunately, a lot of the equipment that's out there it just picks up all of that other stuff that's out there amongst us every day. Even while you're laying in bed, it's right there.
Mhm.
So I designed my equipment a little different because I'm looking for what's not commonly found in our environment.
Right. It's
Right.
not as simple as EMF. I mean, my microwave gives off more EMF than
Our
just about
phone,
anything. And
everything does.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
We did have some questions in the audience,
Yes.
and I don't want to skip over them.
Okay.
Some pretty good. Linda Judd asked, please give a simple example of the portals that we open in daily life so that we may see how we are in those situations.
You're raising your vibration. If you're sitting and you're meditating, you're opening a portal up. You're connecting. We should open and we should close when we need to. We should protect our energy. You're in contact with energy every day, every second of the day, whether it be bad, negative, good, whatever. That's where I say power of thought is and intention is very powerful, because if you're going in and you're doing these things and you're looking for a rise, like some of these, people do, you better watch what you wish for, because you just might get it. And then for the people that are scared of these portals, I work in one every day where I sit. If I'm constantly working and sitting in the same space, I have built an energy in that space.
Right.
Okay. Just like a residual imprint of our energy is left everywhere we go. My smile walking down the street, if somebody looks at me and they're having a bad day, that's an initiation of contact. That's still, these are just human terms. It's a portal. People are scared. People are fearful of the unknown, the enigma.
Yes.
You have to be able to be brave enough and trust what you know, what you've learned, your ultimate wisdom that is God born given to you. And everybody does have that intuition. You're all born with it. It's just different levels. And where that comes from is growth and knowledge. Do you want to grow it? Do you want to learn more? It's as simple as that. It is so simple. People make it so complex that they can't comprehend.
Hey,
Let me add this. Let me add this to what Sky just said. Even though you don't realize you're doing it, Sky's correct. Everything she said is correct. When I do my experiments, I'm allowing someone who doesn't realize that it's even possible to do it. I allow them and help. I don't allow them. I help give them guidance and tools to where they can experience it and know that they did it.
It's facilitated training.
Yes.
So prana, you want to learn how to breathe. You want to learn how to sit. The hemi-sync will help, but with Jay's frequencies and what we're trying to figure out is which one works for what, and how can we get there quicker, and what can we provoke as an experience for a good outcome. And that's for the client too, right?
Yeah, it's very
and
next.
That's the ultimate goal, because what we're searching is answers: the property, the history, ourselves. Why are we all out doing it? Why
Can
are
I
we
give an example? Whenever we were doing, and I'm not going to step, I don't say too much about this documentary that's coming up, and I don't want to give away any privacy of a certain individual that was involved in it. But we came up with answers for him within the first month of designing the experiment. Before we actually got there, we didn't even go to the Conjuring House for 2 months more, but simple math. Everything revolves around math. Everything in this universe revolves around binary and photons. Everything carries information. Everything is numbers. He actually had some answers. And I'm not a psychic. I'm not Sky. Sky wasn't even working on this part of it. This was something that I did without even knowing I did it, simply with the math of figuring out the experiment. and gave him answers about his father. That because I also use gematria. And I'm not sure if you know what gematria is, but we're dealing in gematria, neuroscience, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, metaphysical. I'm dealing in all of this, putting it all together together with supernatural mechanisms to get answers. And he had an answer in the first month about something that he never actually asked the question of. And I gave him this information, and he was visibly shaken. And I didn't understand what was going on. So this happens with or without. We're just taking it to a whole nother level. But what I'm saying is that these answers can be gotten if we really want to search for them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we got to do it with or without K2 meters or with or without a camera with a night scope, but we can look for these answers. They are there.
So through the intent of creating the experiment, you're able to find out the answers. Is that kind of where you?
In this case, I was. In this case, I found answers to something that to questions that he had never actually asked me. And they were things I didn't understand, and I was running them by him in a three-way phone conversation. And I'm like, I don't understand this. This is not making sense. I'm trying to make this all fit. And I'm telling him this, and he become visibly upset. And it had to do with his father.
So you had tuned into his frequency, if you will.
Somehow or another. Well, the math did.
The questions.
Using me, the math did. And this is what I'm saying. We are all capable of this. We just don't know it.
Right.
We agree with you.
Yeah.
We totally agree. A couple other questions, and these are both related. Linda had asked, do you vet your participants? And Anne-Marie Young asked, where and how do you get people to do these experiments?
Okay, we do vet our participants. Now, how we get the people to do the experiment. Is that Anne-Marie?
Yes.
Yes.
First of all, Anne-Marie, we got to find some place that's got enough guts to let us come out and do it. Now, once we find a place that's got enough guts to let us in the front door, then whoever's involved goes through my math. And then that determines, believe it or not, who the potential participants are going to be.
And where?
It could be the sound guy. We're going to do a documentary, and I run everybody's numbers, and I run them through mathematical formulas. And the sound guy's like, I don't want to be involved. I'm like, well, math says differently. It says you should be sitting in seat 5 on the second floor at 6:45 tonight. Are you up for it or not? And he's like, well, I guess so. And then he gets whatever experience he was supposed to get. He gets it. The universe tells us.
Yeah.
I can't stress this enough about the math. Math doesn't lie.
It's numerology in our world.
Lie, but the math
right,
doesn't
Kristen?
lie.
Yes.
So Jay works with the numbers with,
Yep.
yeah, and see, she's on it. Like,
Numerology, astrology, everything goes by the sidereal clock. I do not go by the human clock. I go by the sidereal clock. I use gematria. I use quantum mechanics, quantum physics.
We're not going to tell you guys our secrets.
All right. Well, that's okay.
I'm not going to tell you how I do it.
Yeah, we can't.
I'm just going to tell you, and you don't know when you're going to use what part. But the universe tells you.
Yeah.
But even if I told you those secrets, you'd first have to build a system that only exists in one place, and that's in my work.
It can't be done anyway. It can't be replicated. So that's where Jay's the genius in the mix of it, and he gets mad.
I don't know about
genius. My head
but...
blew up like Jimmy Neutron. I'm not Albert. But I get him.
This. Further
as
on,
far as the placement and the numbering, and you know, like what he was saying, where we end up, the experiment could change. It could change at any point if something seems off or we lose somebody. But as far as her talking about how we vet these participants, most of them are already where we are. They may not be on, the same levels, but it doesn't matter because we can bring everybody as a whole together. And that's another thing that I think that we're going to end up probably trying to, lock down and get the data and show the proof of it with the
Yes,
equipment.
and I can only do a few of these experiments a year because they do. Now, if we're talking about a world gate experiment, those can take months to put together. But even some of my smaller experiments take time to put together. Then I need time on site to actually. My equipment is getting quicker to set up, but when you're talking about wiring, if I show up for, let's say a recent experiment, just give an example, 70,000 square feet, 6,000 feet of wire, 6 computers, EEG monitors, everything, that's a good day and a half just to get ready to do that experiment. And the experiment may only last 30 to 45 minutes.
Jay, do you want to tell them? I don't think we did. Like, who's involved in the institute and what's been done? I mean, as much as we can say.
Okay. Well, it's me. I'm the founder of IDC Institute. It falls under IDC Group, IDC Devices, which I originally started. Sky is my medium, my guru. She helps me with all things metaphysical that I don't quite wrap my little brain around. Then I have Justin Spurrier. He's the former tech manager for Ghost Adventures. He helps me with, he helps me with so many different things. So I've got, and then his son, Austin Spurrier, works with us too. He's what you might call an intern. He's free labor, but he's learning and he's a good worker. And then my IT guy that I go to for all things that I don't understand is Jerry Pacheco. He is the former, I'm not sure what his title was, but he ran the Lizzie Borden house.
Oh, okay.
Before it sold.
Okay.
Lizzie Borden and Maplecroft.
Mm-hmm.
So Jerry is my IT guru, Jerry Pacheco. And then my really good friend and partner and guy I can't do nothing without is Corey Heinzen, former owner of the Conjuring House. He supports me. He believes in what I do. And we've known we were both Marines. We've known each other for freaking ever. Him and Justice Spurrier we go back more than 10 years. I mean, we've just always been buddies. So that's basically the crew that I've got for getting these experiments set up, run. Now the participants change from time to time depending on who's having us out and what the end goal is. Now, not all the experiments are done with participants. I do want to add that. If you want to do, just say you want to do a VP session, and I'm like, okay, how big's your building? 70,000 square feet. All right, so how about I come out and I make you a 70,000 square foot live EVP recorder? Now we set back and we wire this 70,000 square foot building and we do live EVPs over the entire property live. They're being recorded, they're being monitored, and by monitored, we're actually watching the frequencies of up to 18 different satellites in that building. And if one of those spikes, then you know you got something right there and you hear it in real time. You recorded the audio, but you also have a visual of either a disembodied voice or a direct applied voice. I call them direct applied. Some people say EVPs, but direct applied is a little better in this situation. I have my own system for labeling these voices that we get. Here's the thing, though, with my system, I can tell you if it was an EVP or if it was a disembodied voice, ambient voice. But I can also tell you if anybody was in there, because I have more than 24 cameras monitoring everything inside and outside that building.
Wow.
And if you want to run one overnight, we can run an experiment overnight while everybody sleeps. And we will have 18 locations of satellites, 24 cameras, and anything that comes through, the computer's recording it. And you can go right to it and look at the frequencies. You can look at everything. That's the system that I built, and it's called the IDC Intercom system.
That's a good word.
That's excellent. Let's talk a little bit about what you think an EVP actually is, if you don't mind. You used a couple of different terms for them and break them up different ways. We found in some of our recordings that environment sometimes can contribute to the spiritual message, and it's not as easy as, okay, it's this whispery voice.
Right.
But I think it's pretty interesting that a lot of times it is a whispery voice, almost like they're using your breath or things in the environment to create that audio that we're hearing through maybe their intention.
Well, EVP is the umbrella. That's the top. Okay? Everything falls underneath that. Everything is an EVP. If you discovered it, you can't figure out exactly what caused it. It was an EVP. A ghost box voice that answered your question is technically EVP. EVP is electronic voice phenomenon. So if it is a phenomenon and it was electronic and it's a voice, it was an EVP. Now, that's where we start. Now let's start classifying what we're getting. Let me give an example. One of my direct links, I believe it was Billy on Ghost Adventures. He had it in a tuberculosis hospital. There was two voices coming through. Nobody really caught it. Even the sound guys didn't at first catch it. There was a woman's voice and a man's voice. The woman's voice had an echo and had echo in the voice, which my device did have an echo reverb board.
Mm-hmm.
But the man's voice had no echo. So in that situation, I would say both are electronic voice phenomenon. The woman's voice, I would say, is audio snippets, maybe audio snippets.
Like residual reverb, like an.
Everybody talks about audio snippets and ghost boxes.
That's usually how you can tell, like what Jay's saying. The clearer that you're hearing it and the more energy that is being produced for whatever is manifesting in that energy or that field that you're experiencing, you're going to know the difference if you can read and feel that. But he's got the data.
Yeah, because what happens is, in this particular instance, her voice was coming through in bits and pieces. So they would say that was audio snippets. Now, most radios scan 210 frequencies. If you got one from Europe, it might scan 240 frequencies.
Yeah.
My tuners are built by me. They scan more than 10,000 frequencies. So at 10,000 frequencies, the odds of getting radio snippets are pretty narrow.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The man's voice had no echo and reverb. So we know her voice came because I designed it. I built the circuit. The tuner is before the echo board and before the speaker. Her voice came out with an echo. Simple math says, well, it went from the tuner through the echo board, picked up echo, come out the speaker. His voice had no echo. So it didn't come in the tuner. It didn't come in the amplifier. It had to come on the backside of the echo board or out of the speaker. To me, that's a DAV, a direct applied voice. Somebody somehow directly applied their voice to the speaker or the wires. Just as an example.
Yeah, right. So you were able to distinguish between the two, something that was residual and something that was active, and that's a whole area that I don't think gets talked about a lot.
No.
Well, no, because that's why I design my equipment the way I do, so that the end user can actually determine that for themselves by the way I design my equipment. You shouldn't have to guess if it was a radio snippet or a DAV or whatever else. You should be able to determine it by the equipment that I sold you.
Excellent.
So I'm not just building a piece of equipment so you could communicate. I'm building you a piece of equipment so not only can you communicate, you can determine how you're communicating and get a better idea so that in the future you can hone your skills to match whatever you're communicating with and narrow that down.
I love this aspect, like measurement, and this is we both the measurements of it and how you do this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. Oh my gosh! Listen, I should have sent you videos with me using the devices.
Yes.
I should have sent the videos before the show, and I didn't even think about it.
You, either one of you have somewhere, like either on your pages or wherever, to see interactions with that, like the videos up there.
Yeah,
I have. My YouTube is full of them. My Facebook is full of videos.
Okay.
Yeah. My experiments are out there. I have some 1 and 2 hour videos. If you really want to watch, it's there.
Yeah, they're there.
Awesome.
I don't know if I can pull it up quick enough.
I see Ken Allen out there. What's up, buddy? Hey, babies.
Hey, baby.
Friend of ours.
Hi.
He's
Lots
awesome.
of peeps out there. Any of folks in the audience that are trying to hawk readings in our chats,
Yeah.
you will get
Banned.
kicked.
I'm sorry. That's what I've been doing.
That's what we do.
Stop it.
Can't do that. Make your own show.
Yeah. All right.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. There. What do you have, Jay? Your YouTube.
Yeah.
Mine is.
If you want, or I can look for it. And
It's
share it.
under IDC devices. All you got to do, anywhere you see my stuff, you're going to find the black hat logo. It's a skull with a black hat. So anything that's officially me will be that right there.
Let me
So
look.
whether
real
it's
quick.
my
I'm gonna bring some
YouTube,
videos
whether
up.
it's my Patreon, whether it's my Facebook, you're going to see that black hat logo, and that's my official logo.
Give me
That's-
1 second. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna send you 2 of the videos that have
Okay.
serious
Okay.
evidence of his equipment that I've used.
Okay.
Give me
Okay.
And I have a lot of
Show your
different
YouTube and
people.
Instagram.
I have built hundreds, I don't know if 1,000, but hundreds, possibly 1,000 devices that have been used on TV shows. Just about every major TV shows use my equipment, but also investigators from around the world, New Zealand, Australia. One of my direct links was in Malaysia, and was speaking an ancient dialect during an interview on GMA TV.
Really?
My equipment's used all over the world, so there's videos everywhere of my equipment.
Ancient
I'm
dialect.
just not a great publicist. Let's put it that way. People find me, and that's just how it happens. I don't go looking for them. They just find me.
That's very
Awesome.
cool. I just shared out the link to your YouTube page so people can check that out. And I've got some of that up on the screen just now. I'm
I
not
would
sure
appreciate the views.
if it's true, but yeah, please like and subscribe. It's youtube.com at JW Prather. And yeah, you do have some great stuff. It looks like up here. So I don't know if the audio will come through, but I'll do my best.
Chris, I'm sharing, I guess, to your messenger.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is
I'm
just
getting
one
a
little
picture with IDC
snippet.
devices. This video
Trying to
is
get over
meant
there,
to mark
too.
an anniversary that I missed. About
That's an
5
old
years
video.
into building IDC devices, I did a video called IDC
Oh,
Devices
it took
State
me
of
to-
Affairs. It was
That's up.
basically
There's
a
no
mission
sound.
statement video that
Yeah,
did.
I don't think I'm getting audio through
And that
that,
was
so I'll
6
try to
years
get
ago.
the
Well, I
message.
can hear the audio, but that is one of my older ones. Yeah. And just update everyone on
You can hear it. I
what
can't.
the current mission was that I felt IDC
Mhm.
devices should be
I don't think I
tracking.
got that yet, Sky.
What
Oh,
I
that's
Yeah,
okay.
I'm trying to get it to send. It won't.
Oh, okay.
decided
No
to
worries.
watch
That's okay.
that video.
No worries.
Either.
Before
We'll
did
tease
this
people and have them go
What
and look on their
struck
own,
me the most
Yeah, they
about
can
the
look. They can
video
find it on my
is
platforms
which
But
is
not now. You got to wait till after the show.
after the show.
perfectly fine. No problem. No problem at all. I love this. So you really are marrying the technical with the metaphysical
Yes.
in lots of ways. What are some of the other things that you measure for, without giving away the ghost, so to speak?
well, I do I have sound meters. Not only are my computers monitoring and recording all the frequencies that come back, say in different experiments, for that data. There's also like let's say that we did an overnight EVP. Right below the satellite would be a sound meter, and then there's a camera recording all of that. That sound meter is going to tell us really quickly if that was an ambient voice or if it was a electronic voice. All right. And then we go to our cameras, and really quickly we can see that there was nobody on the floor below or above or left or right. So if it was an ambient voice, we can now say, okay, well, that must have been a disembodied voice. There was nobody within 70 feet of that room, but yet we recorded a voice. The sound meter went off. The cameras are showing nobody was there. We've now determined that that was an ambient voice for sure. So I'm also monitoring temperatures,
Barometric.
humidity, barometric pressure. My EDS system, which is not quite completed now, my EDS system will be tied in with the satellites to where all of that will be sent back to a central computer. So at any given point, if we had a phenomenon happen, immediately it's going to record what the temperature was before, during, and after, what the humidity was before, during, or after. Everything. Everything's going to be monitored, but that system, I'm still in the process of trying to finish that system. I have a smaller system, but I can't quite do 80 acres with that one yet.
I think you also do measurements of things beyond, say, the human audio spectrum.
Yes.
And things like I know people have experimented with this with like bat recorders, like their use of echolocation, going into different frequencies that we normally can't hear.
Right.
And then transpose them down into our hearing range.
Yeah, and I'm working on my system is still. I need to live another 60 years to finish my systems. And I'm not shitting you.
We need somebody to take
my
over.
brain and my books are so full. I don't know if I'll ever complete it in my lifetime. Somebody's going to get a hell of a workload when I'm gone in order to try to finish all this shit.
Pick up.
And I'm hoping they're up to the task, because I don't know. It can be done. That's the thing, guys. We can't get all the answers. I don't think we're supposed to. I don't think we're supposed to get every one of them. But we can correlate. At one time, we didn't know the Higgs boson was real. We didn't know what caused photons to slow down and speed up. At one time, antimatter was theoretical. Now we know that 90% of the universe is antimatter. All of these things at one time were unknown.
Right.
I'm trying to make the next known. I'm just not necessarily looking for Star Trek. I'm doing it for the paranormal, which is where my passions lie. But I'm doing it in a scientific, well, I guess I don't want to piss off any scientist, pseudo scientific manner, because it's hard to try to judge the paranormal with strictly known science. You're going to have to look at the Mesopotamians, the Babylonians. You're going to have to look at the Egyptians, the Aztecs. And I hate to say it, you're going to have to look at what the Germans were doing. You're going to have to look at these civilizations that came before us and what they were talking about. Now, what they were talking about may not make sense in the hieroglyphics, but you can make sense of it now.
Yeah, right. We agree with you. I think we think human consciousness, like our gnosis, our knowledge base grows so slowly, and we slowly adapt to any kind of change. If we talk about something like, I don't know, like the idea that a molecule perceived right with the human eye may act differently than if not. I think a lot of people have a hard time just wrapping their head around that. Yet we can prove it.
Everybody has a problem with Schroeder's cat.
Schrodinger's cat. Yeah.
Everybody has a problem with that. And I got to tell you, I got a problem with it too, because I have noticed with my experiments that if I add a seventh observer, things seem to go shit back crazy really quick. And I don't know why, because we just did the experiment twice and everything was fine. I add an observer and things start changing. Because when my intercom system sends audio out to the entire environment. And it also picks it up and brings it back to my computer, right? Mm-hmm. So I have a countdown. When this countdown starts, it's not my voice. It's a digital voice that tells you, you got 10 minutes, get your shit together and get out. You got 9 minutes, get your shit together and get out. And now I'm just being facetious, but this countdown starts. At the end of that countdown, if you're not part of the experiment, you're out of the building. And what I've discovered is if I happen to leave even one person in that building, the experiment changes, because that one person who was part of the experiment becomes an observer and things go a little bit awry. Even though they're not doing anything other than observing, they're in that environment, but they're not actually part of the experiment. Things get a little squirrely.
I wonder if that's related to intention, just the visual observation of something you're intending.
It is.
That's like the double slit experiment.
Just like the double slit experiment. Yeah. When you're looking at it, it's one thing. And when you're not looking at it, the photons of light travel differently. We're just shooting lasers through there. It's the same thing with my experiments. Now, I can't fully explain it, but Einstein had talked about, he said there's a man on a train, and the train's traveling, X, doesn't matter, it's traveling. He drops a stone out the window. To the man on the train, he sees the stone go drop down. But let's say there's a man standing on the platform watching the train go by, and he sees that man drop the stone. Right. Well, when that man drops the stone, guess what the guy on the platform sees? He sees a parabolic arch. That stone goes down and out.
Right.
So, but both of them are correct. Both observers are right. But one sees a parabolic arch and the other one sees the stone go straight down. They're both correct.
Right.
That's the theory of relativity. Everything is relative to whatever your ass is experiencing right this moment.
I love this.
It really is that simple.
And I just kicked out the first psychic of the night.
Okay.
Reader.
I can send you this clip. I sent the other one. I think I just posted on my Facebook page, but it's all Jay's equipment. And it's showing how different it works. And it works really good with me.
Thank you. Yeah,
it doesn't work for everybody.
and I will download it and put it on the screen.
Yeah,
for
I'm
you.
going to send it to your email now. I can send a
Rush.
copy.
We got this. We got time.
Stop spamming our comments.
No spammers, guys.
Scrolling us because we really love this show.
I know there's a lot of comments out there, and I'm not getting to, and I see people offering
Because we have
readings.
to keep,
kicking them out.
people out. What's up with that today?
We want to get to the meat of all this because it's super interesting.
Let's make it the good.
Yeah, we're gonna put up a wall here.
Yes.
And block them with our light energy. One question that we kind of related to something somebody else had commented on before. They mentioned low energy, and this is something that gets talked about a lot of times on low frequency vibrations versus high frequency vibrations. Are you finding with the vibrations that you're actually tuning into are higher than a person's average running frequency?
No.
Depending on
well, hers is different than mine.
Depending on what's going to happen or what's going on and what experiments.
Down. I mean, when people will often generalize, okay, this lower level frequency vibration is from this, I'm going to use the D word, demon thing. And, this higher one is angelic and this and that. And I feel like those terms are so generalized. Like, what are you seeing that kind of data in your experiments?
Well, in my experiments, for most of what experiments I'm running at the moment, and got to remember, I can only run so many of those. I can only design so many at a time. I can also only get so many people that are brave enough to let me come do it in their buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Most of what I'm doing right now is dealt on a lower frequency because that's what's needed for the experiments that we're running.
Okay.
But yes, frequency, definitely a higher frequency would be used for different other experiments.
Okay.
Scott, you can go ahead and weigh in on those.
We're pulling up the
Actually, there's no attachment in that, Sky.
Did it not go?
Yeah, I didn't go. I did get your
okay.
email, but I didn't get the attachment. No worries. If you can get to it. Otherwise, don't worry. We can keep talking. I love this.
It's hard to do all of this in an hour. It really is. I don't expect everybody to agree with me or even fully grasp what I'm talking about because I'm still wrapping my head around all of it. And I'm trying not to talk above anybody.
You're not. You're doing good.
You're fine. You're fine.
You're fine.
And we are on your time.
Yeah.
Length when you guys you tell us because
we're trying to help explain it so people can understand it.
In layman's
because sometimes the things I say makes people's eyes roll back in their head. I'm just a blast at parties. Trust me.
You and me both, brother. I hear you.
Yeah, don't get me talking down at the bar.
It's gonna go off. It's gonna go off the handle then.
Yeah, it's gonna go off the rails. As soon as I say photons, that's usually when I lose most people right there.
Yeah, people can't have it all. It's not as simple as, hey, it's just coming through my radio.
It's not.
There's other stuff,
You've
and
got to measure
the brain wants to know why this happens and how is this communication actually happening.
Right.
Let me know if it came through, Chris.
All right, let me check.
I know that there's others that do as well.
Yes, most definitely.
So when you're in your meditative states, your different levels of consciousness, those vibrations of lower are necessary for, I feel like, more preparing. And then if need be, we need to find a basic range. Again, depending on what we're doing and why we're doing it. But if we need to go higher, that's where they're transcending, right, into a higher level of consciousness, which everybody does. We all do it. We all get downloaded before we wake up, before we go to bed. We get in these states of consciousness. But I think with what we're trying to accomplish with the data, the frequencies, the theta, the beta, the gamma, like all of this is where we need to tie these things together to where we can say this is why we're seeing this, and
I don't want to give away too many of my secrets yet.
yeah, there's
Everybody's going to have to wait till I'm dead to get the secrets. But
Jeez.
when leading up to, say, the World Gate, and we're leading up to, we have the Peregrine experience, which is the participants. We have the catalyst experiment, which is conditioning the environment. When we hit the
I want some bacon.
experiment, those frequencies, they raise. They raise high. And not only that, but the dB level raises very high. And then it's basically, okay, let me use a layman's term. I'm trying to kick that door open with high frequencies, high dBs. And then that door opens. It's open for 4 to 6 minutes, and then it closes. And then I start lowering those frequencies back down again.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring it back down to mod levels. And over probably the next 9 to 11 minutes, as the participants are coming out of their experience, I'm also lowering the environment itself to close that gate. While I'm using the participants, they're still under audio. They're still in their experience, and they're manifesting the closing of that gate while I'm backing those frequencies back down. But yeah, whenever I go to kick open that gate, it's loud as hell in that building. And there's some frequencies you probably never heard with your ears before as I kick open that door. So yes, those frequencies, they do change over the course of, say, a World Gate experiment.
Okay.
Okay. And I just requested access, Sky.
okay. 1 second.
Jeez.
I think I got.
Oh no,
I'm just scattered because we're on here. That's all. I'm trying to listen.
it's fine. Take your time.
We are laid back.
Yeah, we've got this.
Bacon is love. And that comes from our friend Cisco's show.
Yeah, that was funny. I'm hungry. I want some bacon.
Right?
It does sound good right now.
Okay, there's 2. You got those. Now I got them. And you requested, so send. You should be, it's sending, so you should have it. They're just short clips. Nothing was really edited. It was just, saying on the screen exactly what you hear. You can hear it.
All right. Yeah, I do have them now. So let me download those and I'll pop them up. Great MP4.
And Jay's equipment's what caught me. This was at Randolph County Asylum when I was the only one. And how big was the building?
That one was
58,000 square feet.
56,000 square feet.
I'm the only one in the basement in the meat room, and I got a ghost talk. We're not going to say a ghost because Jay hates that. A spirit speaking to me audibly. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm cussing because everything breaks down behind me with his intercom system that we're dialed in, getting ready to do an experiment. And if you listen, you hear somebody reply to me, what? And that's not no EVP. That was right there real time.
They're coming down now. So just one moment.
But
yeah, I'll get
I think Justin sent me that, Jay.
Spurrier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sent me it because then I had to send it to you because you didn't know about it.
No, I wasn't down there at that time. I spend most of my time in my command center monitoring the experiment from that central point. From there, I can monitor 56,000 square feet, but it doesn't mean I catch it all, but my computers are catching it.
Mm-hmm.
I just may not catch it all.
Yeah, you may have to replay it because you'll listen and I'll say what I say. I cuss.
It's okay.
This one.
And there's no communication going on between anybody. There's nothing going on. It's just me literally just sitting still in front of the camera. And it freaked me out because it was loud and I didn't expect it. And I'm like reaching for like a camera or something or my phone for the light. Because I'm like, shit, I'm going to break Jay's equipment. He's going to mess me up if I screw his stuff up. But it happened at Bobby Mackey's too. I have that. That is on my...
Well, the DRV,
DRV.
the DRV worked there, and that was an accident. You could tell them about that in a minute, because nobody was supposed to have the DRV. That wasn't supposed to leave my workshop. Not even sure how it got in my case.
Wow.
Because that's an experimental device I have.
I had it.
And y'all ended up with it.
Wow.
It got thrown. It got thrown out of my hand.
Oh, no kidding.
And there was a lot of cursing on it.
Oh my, that sounds very interesting.
Well, we like bad words.
Yeah, but there's not supposed to be anything coming out of it.
Well, my DRV is actually a DRV. It scans no FM frequencies, AM frequencies at all. And I had it. I built it. In 3 months of me running it, I don't know how many batteries I'd ran down in this thing. It had never said a word. And I'm like, well, my DRV is doing what I said it would do. It doesn't pick up any frequencies or any audio from the radio band, human radio band, but it's not saying anything. They somehow accidentally got a hold of it. I came back. I went to Florida from there. They went to Bobby Mackey's, and they called me up and they said, hey, this thing's talking. I'm like, bull, that thing don't talk. I built it.
Does for me.
It don't talk. And they're like, no. And they sent me videos. I'm like, holy crap, that thing hasn't said a word in 3 months.
It's really good.
But it was working at Bobby Mackey's.
There you go.
I have the full recorded. It was filmed, and then I have the actual live video of everything that happened at Bobby Mackey's, and it was awesome.
And that device,
he's like, quit throwing my shit around. I said, gravity goes down, not this way and behind you.
Right?
It got ripped out of my hand and thrown behind me.
Jeez.
Wow.
I'd love to see that.
Scroll on my Medium Sky Raye page, and you see Bobby Mackey's and you see live video, you'll want to watch that because it shows it. And then the damn thing's cussing at Matthew.
What is the video of with the green light that you sent me?
That one is in the meat locker in the basement of Randolph County Asylum in Indiana, Winchester, Indiana.
I have that video to play.
That was our Field of Fears documentary we did.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to play that now. I don't know if you want anything about it. Okay.
Oh, shit. This fucking thing just fell apart behind me. Do it.
Okay.
I'm just talking like I normally talk to humans. They're people.
Let me bring that up one more time so we can see what's going on. What are we looking for in that?
You're going to hear what after I say, what the fuck?
Okay.
And they're like, what? And I'm like, and then I keep talking.
And you're alone.
And I'm alone. There's nobody in that building. Nobody.
All right, let me play that again so we know what to listen for.
Oh, shit. This fucking thing just fell apart behind me. Oh, shit. This fucking thing just fell apart behind me.
That is wild.
That's awesome.
You can see what's going on behind you.
We got so much good stuff.
And the what?
Let's just say
the what is clear.
True crime. The guys that filmed us with the cinematography and the audio were from Mercury retrograde. I can't talk.
Oh, yeah, it's
help me.
True crime.
And they were scared shitless when I went through my walkthrough.
Yeah,
and
they weren't paranormal.
What I said.
They weren't normally filming and audio paranormal.
Yeah.
But a lot of our film crews don't. A lot of our film crews, like when we were at the Conjuring House, our cameraman there, he was crapping his britches because he normally don't film paranormal. And when we opened that portal, he was the only one that still had any equipment going as far as handheld equipment, because and he was literally white as a ghost. He didn't know whether to shit or go blind. I thought he was going to run right out of there, and I can't wait to see the end footage because that 20 minutes was amazing. I mean, and I gotta say, he held his ground. He kept filming, but he looked like he was going to run at any second.
This is what we're saying. Like, this stuff that we do is beyond comfortable. I was in that meat locker for an hour, was I not, JW?
Yeah.
By myself in that building by myself.
It was one of the isolation experiments that I do. And you've seen the satellite system behind her.
Yes.
That tripod is part of the satellite system. So she's being monitored by both audio and video while she's in this isolation session, which you could say Estes method, whatever. If you wanted to do an Estes method, you could do it with my system with, I don't know, 18 people in 18 different locations over 80 acres. You want to do an Estes method that large? Well, you get 18 people together, I'll do it. But that's a lot to monitor. But that's basically one of the examples of what my system will do.
That's really cool. And we love that. We do a show. We're in a rotation with Greg Koss, who we mentioned before the show. He has one called Metaphysical Crossings, where we do double blind Estes methods. And
we throw some experiments of our own.
We try to make it different, each week. But this is, like I said earlier, next level. And I know some people are going to want to talk to you guys after the show. This next video I have is, it says a Sky and Matt IDC device. Do you want to set that up? It's a night vision.
Yeah, that would have been the ID. That was at the Nickerson Sneed in West Virginia.
Was that when we combined the Conjuring House with the Nickerson Sneed that night, or was that a different time?
That was the same weekend.
Same weekend, yeah.
That was the same weekend. I was there investigating.
We used my intercom system to connect the Nickerson Sneed house to the Conjuring House.
Right.
Okay.
This was years ago.
This was, well, I was actually with Nick Groff that weekend doing a seance revisited. And I decided to run one of my own experiments when we weren't doing something else. And Nick, he really didn't care what as long as I didn't interfere with this stuff, he's like, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So we did this experiment where we connected the two houses and see what we got using the system to do it. And who's got the video there, I guess.
Yes. All right, here it comes. Going to bring it up.
This video is just showing. You'll see.
There's something keeps blocking the light. There's a light on the wall outside the bathroom. Yeah, I see it's movement somewhere in here. But I can't tell where it's coming from.
Yeah. Back here, behind him. I kept looking because I kept thinking I was something.
Douglas, are you here? There's a dude about halfway up the wall and I'll block it out and I can't tell where it's coming from.
Whoa.
Now watch.
What that say?
Let me, I think. That's what I heard was let me.
So I got followed to the bathroom.
Yeah.
We've had something walking in the hall with
my
us.
pants because I scared myself in the mirror. I literally walked in, seen my reflection, and almost peed my pants. I forgot the whole mirror was there.
Who was that just said let me?
He's here.
Yeah.
He's right with me. He's been following me. He was outside with me too. Who?
What's your name? Ooh, did you hear that laughing?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Anthony?
That's
Anthony.
my dad. That's my dad. What are you doing? He says.
Are you Sky's dad? Are you Amy's dad? Are you making sure she's okay?
Number 8.
Number 8?
This book. The book.
I don't know what to say.
So there's 8 of us in here right now, right? Just like 2
Yeah, when Al comes back, there'll be 8. Are you saying there's 8 people in here?
Yep. Ask me what my middle name is.
Can you tell me what Amy's middle name is? May I try?
Do it again. He's here. My dad is my guide.
Anthony? Anthony, are you here with Sky? With Amy? She's calling you Sky.
Hi, Dad.
Hey.
I love you. Do you have any messages for Al? He's cold.
What?
You said he's
That's a lie.
Oh, yeah. He knows what it's talking about.
You know who that is? That's my dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were talking to him a minute ago. Said his name and everything.
Who's here?
Kevin.
Kevin. Wow. Kevin is not here, but we always get Kevin.
We always get Kevin.
Does somebody try to communicate with Kevin because they have a message for Kevin?
Not much happened after this.
Okay, I want to weigh in on this. I want to weigh in on this right here. When I listen to my devices, I always close my eyes and I focus. You got to remember this device that they're using. This is the IDC Direct Link. A lot of people have seen it on different shows, but they never really truly explained it on the shows. This device is scanning about 10,000 frequencies, whereas a normal ghost box scans around 200. So just think about the odds of getting a voice through 10,000 frequencies versus 200 frequencies. And a normal radio is trying to actual focus on FM radio stations, whereas mine is intentionally missing them. The way I design my tuners, I design them to try to miss the FM stations. So when these voices are coming through, we're talking about 10,000 frequencies versus only 200. We're talking about intelligent answers. But did you see him laying his finger on the back?
You gotta.
The way I build the direct link, when I originally created the direct link, I called it the direct link. And you got to lay your finger on the back and energy will flow through you. Our head and our chest are full of salt water. They're very good receptors because there's a lot of salt water in this area. Salt water is a very good conductor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I meant the direct link to be that. I've now determined that that is a misnomer. That device is not the direct link. The human being that's using it is the direct link.
Right.
Whoever's holding it in their hand,
Their own antenna.
they are the direct link, not that piece of plastic. That's just a piece of plastic that some guy in a cowboy hat made. The direct link is that human being that's holding it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on track, but I wasn't quite on track. And I built this in 2014. My first prototype was the end of 2013. And I've been building them ever since. I absolutely love the device. It's not for everyone. I do know of a father and son team. Both of them have abilities. The father, the son, Devin, can use it all day, all night, no matter what. The father, Stephen, he can't even get his hand near it, even if someone else is holding it, without it going batshit crazy and
It
making
gets
all kinds of noises.
it gets weird noises, loud.
People cannot use this. If certain abilities, I've only had one customer send it back. She said it burned her. And I find out she ability.
We want 5.
Can we get one?
But most people with abilities, they can use this, but I designed it for people without abilities.
Mm-hmm.
But certain people with abilities, they can't even hold it without it making there's such an energy transfer that happens that it's almost like they're going to blow out the speaker.
And look, I was there though. I was present. I said, did you hear me say? I forgot. I went downstairs to the public bathroom downstairs.
The mirror.
And I freaked out because there was a full mirror. And I'm like, oh shit. And it was me. And I was laughing because it was pitch dark in there. Yeah. And we just did a seance. And a lot of crazy shit happened. And then we go in that room where they were doing just divination stuff, Victorian style stuff. I don't get into all that. I never use tools. But as soon as I walked in, I felt that energy walk back from the base because I was creeped out. I had the skeevies. I knew something was in the bathroom with me. Walked up, and then we got all that weird stuff. I'm not holding the device. So that's also, with just me being in the room, it amps up the energy anyway. And I've noticed that. Because what was the other, I can't ever remember the other one that it shouldn't talk, that I used at Bobby. That one worked well with me.
And that's like a direct voice. So is that one that isn't sweeping, or it's just like on one?
It shouldn't make
it's
anything.
Sweeping. My DRV is sweeping 10,000 frequencies still. Okay. But the way that I've designed the, I don't want to go into a bunch of coding, but basically I buy a tuner that has preset from the factory, but the tuner itself, the chips are empty. Okay. Mm-hmm. I design it to the parameters that I want. So I'm scanning from around 50 megahertz to 149 megahertz, just below the aeronautical band. Actually, I've gone a little higher, and I'm 3 miles from an airport, and I was hearing pilots. So I backed it back down a little bit. But that's me. Push till the shit's about to break and then back up a little bit. That's what I do. But the way I designed this one was I took the PLL completely out of it. And by PLL, I mean that's in the coding. I made it to where it would not lock any FM frequency whatsoever. It will not lock at all. Now, most of my direct links are meant to minimize FM interference. This one is meant to get completely rid of it.
And it's not
behind a DRV is a direct radio voice, right?
Right.
You're just basically scanning 10,000 frequencies of white noise.
Right.
Yeah.
They got it to talk at Bobby Mackey's.
In between the actual spirit communications in that video, you notice how quiet it is in between. Yeah, you're hearing static, but you're not hearing any pieces of commercials. You're not hearing any pieces of FM banter.
No, if you want to hear the guy that's going to sell you Ford pickups on Sunday or whatever, get a regular radio. If you want to speak to whatever's out there, get it directly.
Yeah.
I don't like commercials. I don't like commercials when I'm watching TV. I don't like commercials when I'm in the truck, and I damn sure don't like commercials on my damn ghost boxes.
Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah, same. And so now you're trying to pick it apart. Like, what was, what was spiritual, what was an ad?
And I'm joking, but you know what I mean.
No, it makes great sense. I love it, and I love the way that sounded. The speed of it wasn't like super fast either. It was just kind of going at a nice clip.
Now,
and you can adjust it.
It's variable speed, and I can make it as fast as you want.
Yeah.
I mean, most of mine are between 5 milliseconds up to around 120 milliseconds. But if you turn that thing all the way up, you have to record it and play it back because you can't hear it unless.
Gotta have faith.
Okay, is Kevin Hart in the audience? Because every time I get on here and I go to tell this story, Kevin Hart shows up.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so Kevin Hart,
non-celebrity. Kevin
No,
Hart.
no,
he
not
says.
that Kevin Hart. Another
That's what he
Kevin Hart.
says. That's what he says on his thing.
I
The
know.
non-celeb. He's funny.
Yeah. He wanted 2 devices. He said, JW, I know it'll scan 10,000 frequencies. He goes, can I have one that'll do the first 5 and one that'll do the second 5? And I'm like, well, yeah, if that's what you want. I said, I'll even put a buffer in the middle.
Mm.
In other words, one goes up and stops, and then the other one starts a little higher and goes all the way up. He will set those 2 direct links side by side, okay, scanning 5,000 frequencies each, 5,000 different frequencies. A conversation will start in one direct link and end in the other. Now, you explain to me how you're getting the same voice out of 2 devices that aren't even scanning the same frequencies.
Well, JW, me and Justin did that in the woman and the men's part at the asylum. Remember when we connected?
Yeah.
What happened?
So these are things I can't, that's why I label those DAVs, direct applied voices. They're using the frequencies to ride, but they're not using audio snippets. They're directly applying their voice to that device.
And they were intelligent. They were intelligent.
Yes.
I love this. This is great. Now I just need you to record those clairaudient experiences that don't seem to get recorded by anything else. Because we've had that happen too.
Yeah.
Which are like, how does that work? You know, it's almost like it just vibrates your eardrum and nothing else. But awesome stuff. Awesome tech going on. You guys are great. I know more than a few people asked in the audience where your next project is and what you're working on.
I have several projects in the works. I think I will have a live feed by the end of the year, hopefully. I will be back with Dark Zone again, where I've been with Dark Zone at places like Lizzie Borden. Dark Zone's done the Queen Mary, Conjuring House. So I think we're going to have that project coming up at the end of the year with Dark Zone. Hopefully it's a 3 to 5 day live event. Anybody wants to get in on that, that's going to be amazing. We have a couple documentaries that are going to be coming out before the end of this year that are in various stages of completion. And I'm also working with right now 2 different TV shows. Of course, can't say the names of them, but you see the ones where my equipment's being used, my direct links and stuff like that. But I do have some experiments coming up with a couple of shows that I hope will air probably next year. So yeah, we got quite a few projects that are going on right now.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. And where are the best places for people to find you? I know we have a couple of links. Should they find you on Facebook? Sky, I know you mentioned
Facebook's the best way to keep up with me. Of course, you shared my YouTube.
Yes.
I would definitely appreciate the views on there.
Yeah,
My YouTube seems to get missed by most people. I don't know how, but it does. I guess it's probably because I ramble like I do on here, but Facebook, and then I have my Patreon, which if you go to my Facebook, you'll see my Patreon.
Yeah, please
That's
go to the
the best way to
Patreon.
get devices from me.
Okay.
Is through Patreon. I'm not necessarily building to the public because I can't build to the demand. I can't build that many. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying every time it shows up on another show or another rerun, my email just blows up.
Mm-hmm.
And I build these by hand. I can't build to that kind of demand. I don't have a factory.
Yeah.
Right. It's just, you. And
yeah, it's just me. And these are built by me with my theories.
Right.
So yeah, I just can't mass produce this.
Right. Oh, we understand. That's a lot.
That's excellent. I just put out your Facebook out in all our chats.
Yes. Thank you.
They'll be
Yeah.
in the
So
different
you guys, yeah, anybody can find me on my website, but mostly would be my business page at Medium Sky Raye on Facebook. I have TikTok. I have Instagram. What else is there, guys? I have YouTube. I do have YouTube.
I have a TikTok too, but be careful because it's called Black Hat Uncensored for a
Yeah,
reason.
we're not. We use that for our fun things and like our rants and our creative things. So there's a lot
And
of
it's
creative
definitely
work I've done on
uncensored.
mine.
My TikTok is uncensored.
Cool.
Unfiltered.
Yeah, we're pretty personable and real. We don't try to hide anything. We're pretty cool people, but
We saw our friend Brandon Cooper out there
Yes.
on Shaman Sundays, and he gave you a shout out.
hey, hi.
So I guess I think you guys know him. He mentioned you.
Yeah, like Jay was saying earlier, like we've never sought people out. People have always sought us out. And I think that's the crazy thing, because before the whole conjuring thing happened and the Institute with us, trying to get all that together, is Stacy Brown from Outcast Paranormal contacts me out of the blue off Instagram. And he didn't even know that I worked with Justin or Jay prior. And he's like, I need your help. And I'm like, do you know that I work with these guys, that I'm very close with them and we've already done projects together? He's like, no.
Because we don't advertise. We don't.
Right.
We don't need to. I don't go around telling everybody that I hang out with Justice Spurrier and Sky and Corey, and I just do my thing.
We just live our lives.
We just do our thing, and whatever happens, happens.
But
Because
some
I'm
cool
gonna
things
do
has
this.
happened to me.
I'm going to do this whether anybody ever sees it or not. It's what
We're
I
on
do.
a mission. We want to build this for the next generations when we're gone. It's important. I've lived this my whole life. This is what I've meant to do. I've turned down many shows. Believe you me. I've had people play me. I've written behind the scenes. There's things that I've done that people don't even know.
Oh, I know. There's projects that I've been involved with that nobody knows I was involved with. I don't say much.
No, and we don't.
I have turned down some shows. I won't say which ones.
Me either.
They just didn't fit what I'm doing.
Yeah, I can see
No
that.
offense to the shows. Now, I built for all of them. I mean, I built for Kesha. That experiment that she ran at the Opry House.
The Opera House.
Yep. I built that. Actually, it's sitting back out in my garage because I didn't give it to them. I asked for it back. But
yeah,
I built them an experiment for Kesha for the Opera House.
Wow.
I mean, this is what I do. I will build for TV shows from small to large.
Oh, you guys are so interesting.
The mediumship, since you want to brag, Jay, I'm just going to brag a minute.
I don't
even want to hear it. Now, I got in contact with ghost hunters from A&E, Daryl Marston. I worked an event with him. I did, I think, 3 separate events in a couple different states. I did read for him. He, gave me a good recommendation with my mediumship skills. I also got to read for Carney Wilson a few times. Everybody knows the Long Island medium, her mentor, Pat Longo. I've actually got to sit in with her one class she had and ended up helping teach her class because she pulled me to the side and I did a reading for her while she did a healing on me.
Wow.
And then I helped her teach her 20 students. And that's the Long Island mediums.
Wow.
Mentor.
Yeah.
And that's Tim Russo's colleague. So, I mean, that's where I'm a little bit different because I don't limit myself, and not everything's, rainbows and Skittles and shit blown out your ass like fairy dust. It just isn't like that. There's negative and there is light. And until you've embraced or went through darkness, you don't know a damn thing. And I don't care who you are. It's not all love and light.
That's right.
You know, it's not. It just isn't. It's how you perceive things. But once you go through something, you can't go back. You have to move forward, and you have to apply that knowledge and then share that wisdom and teach others. And that's what's important. And that's why I think our mission is important, because we're trying to have these breakthroughs of evidence showing the data that hasn't been done scientifically, because it is important. And yet people have done it. People have studied our brains, but
it hasn't been done the way we do it scientifically.
Right.
They either do it in the lab or other people do stuff. They do run experiments.
Yeah.
But I'm combining the two, but take it out of the laboratory and out to where it actually is happening.
And it makes a big difference. It really does. It's completely what's the word we want to call it? It's breaking the paradigm. It's
breaking the paradigm, going
groundbreaking. It's
next
just
level.
Next level. Yeah,
it is.
It's amazing.
But it's hard to understand, and I get that. And I'm hard to understand, and I get that. So
no, I think you're in a great place for what you're talking about, because we do understand you, and we love that. And I think we've been slowly conditioning our audience to kind of pick up on
right.
There's a bigger world out here than what's maybe being sold to you on various websites.
Right.
Who doesn't want to live a better life? I mean, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here, really. While we're going into the paranormal world too, and trying to discover those unknown things. So it's a win-win.
I know we've been going for 2 hours, and I don't know what your time limit is, but I did have two more quick
we're
questions.
good.
You want to go?
Yeah.
Conjuring House. You mentioned a Conjuring House, and I know you can't say too much about a documentary that's not out yet, but your impression of the place, we've been there ourselves. Do you think it is something to do with something that happened there, or maybe the property itself, or some combination thereof? It's a big question.
All the above.
All the above?
I sleep like a baby at the Conjuring House.
Yeah, but you do anyway. Somewhere
in the last 20 years, I get at the Conjuring House. Me and Corey, we both talk about this at great lengths. I absolutely love that house, and I have since the first night I've slept there. And I've, outside of maybe Corey and John and Bill and some of these other guys, I've probably slept there more nights than most humans on earth. And I absolutely love the place. There's an energy there. I do not feel that there's anything evil there, but it's definitely, it's Area 111. In my experiment, and you will see whenever the documentary comes out, mathematically, it's Area 111.
Okay.
This area is definitely a central point. It's one of many, many that's in this universe and on this earth.
Yes.
That just happens to be one of them. But there's nothing evil at the Conjuring House. I sleep like a baby at that sucker.
There's just a lot of history, but like you said, there could be ley lines there that
it goes all the way back to John Smith. It goes all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah, it's got history.
1605. I mean, this thing goes all the way back.
And look at the stone. Look at the well. Look at what holds energy. Look at where the water runs. Look at you gotta put all these things, into
combination, right?
Yeah, it's not just any one thing.
No, it's
not with the Conjuring House. The Conjuring House is no simple location. Whenever I was doing my math on this thing, and I'd known the house very well, but I knew it even better mathematically at the end of this last experiment. It's a complicated place, and there's so much going on there, but there is nothing evil at this house. And I'm not, if Jacqueline's watching, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, because she loves her new house, And Jacqueline's amazing. For everybody watching, Jacqueline is amazing. The new owner, she is awesome. Definitely book your time at the Connie House. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. But I do not believe that there's anything evil there. But there's a lot of strange energy there.
There is.
Mhm.
Now,
Can attest to that.
intent is everything.
Right.
Don't go down there messing around and think you're not going to get your ass kicked.
And don't go with a bad,
That's what
bad
I'm saying.
mindset. Yeah.
But I don't
Exactly.
think there's anything malignant there.
Right,
So
right.
don't go in disrespectful either.
Well,
Oh,
it's like I say, you
Mhm.
know, I live in a 200-year-old farmhouse. I don't live alone here. I never feel alone.
Nope.
But
Gotcha.
that energy is here. It's been built, you know, a blacksmith worked right outside, you know, the driveway area, had that area. And back in that time, the women weren't supposed to speak unless spoken to.
Mhm.
You know, I had a lot of crap I dealt with in just this house, let alone the Conjuring house and what history lays there. So what I always say is we're the haunted ones. If you have gifts and you just don't know what you're getting and what you're experiencing, it's all in one. It all
Right.
goes together one way or the other. And
I-
it's your perspective. It is your intent. Are you there to screw with shit? Because shit will come screw with you.
That's silly. We always say go in, you know, without you don't have to like, you know, ramp them up and
Yeah, there's no reason.
Why would you
The
do
more
that?
quiet and normal you are, the best results you get.
Exactly.
Always.
I have a thing as well is when we go into locations like that, like very known locations, anything like Lizzie Borden or anything, people also drop off their own baggage and leave it there.
Yeah,
So you
it's
A lot of
It will
safe.
stay there for a little bit.
exactly.
It will stay for a while. Sometimes it stays permanently. It just depends on the impact of, usually it's the trauma or the,
Right.
you know, whatever the residual, it could be anything. It could
It
be a
really
death.
I love that.
It's
because
grieving.
Not everything
Right.
is, you know, light and fairy dust, and you know,
yeah.
not everything is dark and demonic either, right?
And it's
So
not. It's rare. It's
different.
rare.
We would agree that it is seemingly a portal area. In fact, our
Right.
best year that we got from our trip there wasn't anything evil at all.
No, there was
You
like
know, but there was like evidence of something, you know,
Going on.
non-human occurring, and it was really
Yes.
good data. And I'm just going to call it data, but
Yeah,
it wasn't evil in any way. And in
Right.
fact, it was a little sad.
And that's how it was at Bobby Mackey's. I was like, yeah, there were some shitty assholes that were here. There are assholes in life. They're assholes in death. I had it come up and just go, ugh, right in my ear. And I went running. They're like, shit, you weren't even here for 3 minutes. You went running for the front door. I said, I felt the breath. I felt the energy just like engulf me. And I was like, it was a human response. I went right back to where I was at. And I was like, shit.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll
But
tell
he
you,
was fun. He just wanted to mess with me. But
anytime
after that,
human
it was
interaction.
like bam, bam, bam. Just everything just kept happening.
Right.
But
Yeah.
there was nothing evil there. There was nothing evil there.
I mean, it could be negative. There was a negative presence.
There was
but
negative presence there. Yeah, but that's
you know,
completely
that was basically
different.
it wasn't bad. However, we walked outside in the back. It's beautiful. The property is like
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, I went all through there. Yeah.
And in the back, way in the back is like after the stone wall is just a dead tree laying there, a big dead tree. And I walked up to the dead tree and it gave me I got anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, Chris was like, I don't know, 30 feet away from me. I looked at Chris, I walked back, came back. I felt fine when I walked back, you know, like 10 feet, came back up, did the same thing. So it's not just spirits, it's property wise as well. It's the land.
Yeah.
As
We
well.
have the elements.
The elements.
Yeah.
Which we had a question. Where do you stand on elementals? What do you think about elementals?
I
Both of
work
you.
with them.
Okay.
I am very diverse in all areas of religion and occult, and I'm very eclectic, so I'm not ever just one way.
Eclectic.
I am.
Yes.
I do have shamanism in me. My grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee, and then my dad's mom was a medium, a full-blown medium. She died at 42. She died young. She died when he was 4, and he's full-blooded Italian. So I mean, I've got a lot of generational background stuff that I just like recently found out on my dad's side, but it's
Wow.
nuts. It's nuts. So yeah, with the elementals, there's several different types. And then you're working with, you know, if you're working in the shamanistic aspect, you're, you know, you're north, you're east, you're west, and you got your south. You got your earth, your air, your fire, and your water. But there's also things that I have seen that people don't even believe exist. That's where I'm different. That's why I don't fit in a category or never fit in with other mediums, because the things that I have seen and experienced are, you can't even make a horror movie that bad. You just can't. Do they hurt me? Do they bother me? At one time, yes, but not anymore, because I had to learn about it. It was my way, my path. But that's what makes me different. And as far as elemental stuff, you got to be more specific, because there's all types of elementals.
Well, let me ask Chris a question.
Yeah.
Chris?
Sure.
Do you, of the 4 elements, which one do you most relate to?
Personally?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a fire sign, if we want to get into some.
Well, fire sign, but and that could play a part in it, but
Probably Earth.
which
Yeah.
are you drawn to the sea? Or are you?
I'm drawn to water a lot. Water.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
and
if I,
you need
what
to be
if
in
I
a
told you?
culture environment.
What if I told you that you could have been an elemental, or you may one day be an elemental water?
I may be one now.
But
I'm only
here's
behind-
the thing. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And we've already discussed this. We've already decided that it was all made and it will never go away. When you leave here, Chris, you're not leaving. You're simply going to a new place. What if you were an elemental next?
You're going to be
What if you've been an
transcendent.
elemental
Yeah.
in the past? Your energy's going to go somewhere. It cannot disappear.
Right, we agree.
So if you're no longer on Earth, you, not Chris, but what is you? The energy that is you. If you're no longer on Earth, 500 years from now, where will you be? Because you will be somewhere, Chris. And you will be something. What if you were in water elemental then, not just on Earth? What if you were a water elemental on another planet in another dimension? Just to really rile your viewers up and get their minds spinning. Who's to say that you weren't what we call an alien, and you were an alien 500 years ago?
We are.
Because
we
your
have
energy
origins.
was there on that planet in that dimension 500 years ago, but now your energy is here in Chris on this planet at this moment for, I don't know, 100 years. Let's give you 105 years. I want you to be an old man. You're here on this planet for 105 years as Chris.
This is where me and Jay get in our debates.
So
I love this.
If we want to debate this, I can say a couple
destroyed,
things.
you got to go somewhere, and you had to come from somewhere.
Exactly.
For sure.
But since the universe, and universe isn't even a good word, because there's universes on the outside of our universe. Even Einstein, when he
it's the
talks about
metaverse.
the honeycomb,
Mm-hmm.
there's outsides of the outside of the outside.
Right.
You
Like-
could have gone anywhere.
I
You
think
could
so.
have come from anywhere, and you can go anywhere when you leave here. My experiment allows you for 10 to 15 minutes, go wherever it is that you're free. Your photons, your tachyons are free for at least 5, 10, 15 minutes
From the
during my
3D world.
experiments as a participant. And you can travel and you can see where your energy can go.
It's amazing the things that I've experienced.
Like an astral travel.
Yeah.
It's like
You're
travel.
astral traveling.
But
Yep.
we're limited. We can't go for more than a few minutes before the mass of our photons, the mass of our tachyons
comes back,
slows us back down because
Yeah.
God or the universe or the creator, whatever, has decided, nope, get your ass back over there where you were sitting at. That's where you're supposed to be for the next 95 years. So we only get a few minutes. But what we're working on is giving somebody those few minutes to go and see what is possible. What's possible?
It's
possible that you may have done
awaken them.
before now, and what's possible in the future.
Right. So
Yeah, I love
your listener wanted to know more about the elemental stuff, but I did want to cue in on something that Jay says, because me and him don't always agree on everything, and I love it because I need him to challenge me, and he has to challenge, it's vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But like he was saying with you, Chris, you're fire, right? I'm an air sign. I'm Gemini. I'm Dolty. I am versatile. I am on the East Coast, but I am an air sign, but I identify with fire. Right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It can go any way, really, and it can be all.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
no, and just as well as I do, Jay, there's no limits.
Well, and what if we get to choose? See, I haven't touched on that. What if we get to choose when we leave here where we're going next and what we're going to do when we leave here?
Well, there are different hierarchies.
God gave us
there are
free will
different
as
levels.
humans. God could give us free will for our energy of where we're going to go next and what we're going to do next. I don't know. Maybe there's a brochure. I don't know. And you just pick it out and you're talking to a real estate agent or you're talking to a travel
Our
agent.
brochure said that we were going to
that
meet with
universe
Chris
there.
and Kristen today, and that's a soul contract.
A touch screen.
That's intervention. That's divine intervention. It's already done.
Yeah.
It's already written.
I wanted to make the comment before because we were talking about there's the Conjuring House, is it evil and not really offending the new owner, Jacqueline. I think any kind of interaction with something that is so outside of your realm, when it really happens, when you experience real phenomena, it's scary as hell if you're not used to it.
Right.
So it can be the best.
The unknown is scary. End of story.
Something moves across the table and oh my God, that really happened. Yeah. And your physics go out the window and your brain is just going, what just happened there? It's enough. It doesn't happen.
But we're capable of creating that.
You will see it in this upcoming documentary. You will actually see me lose my shit in this because I don't care how seasoned investigator you are, when it actually slaps you in the face.
You got to be careful.
Take a step back because the human brain has a hard time wrapping its head, even though you just prepared 3 months.
The body and the brain does not understand what's happening together.
Nope.
At all.
3 months of preparation, 1 week of doing it, and when it all shit the bed for 20 minutes, we didn't know what. I mean, I'm not happy with my behavior at that moment. I did lose protocol.
It's human reaction, though. It's normal.
But yes, it is. When it actually happens,
right?
You have a hard time wrapping your brain doesn't want to wrap around.
It's fight or flight.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's the human conditioning. It's the reprogramming that's important. It's the relearning.
And I like to say I'm cool, calm, and collected. I was a Marine. I rode rodeo. I grew up in West Texas, down by the border. I mean, I have lived a pretty rough life. I've dealt with a lot of crap. But when this hits you right in the face, you take a step back because your brain's just not quite registering all of it. Exactly. I'd rather get punched in the mouth sometimes than to try to figure out what in the world was that?
What just fucking happened?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What?
I love that.
I gotta go outside. I don't know. Let me go take a walk for a minute because I gotta figure this shit out.
Right.
Doesn't mean it had evil intent. It's
No.
just that your brain wrapping around it
can't do
is
it.
just like, wow. What
Right.
It can
happened?
be difficult. It can be difficult.
Yeah.
Psychologically, it can be very difficult. And that's one of the reasons why my participants, we do look at the psychological, we do the psych evals to make sure. And of course, there's only so much you can do to prepare for this. Are you with me? I mean,
Yeah.
Sky was
What?
both me and Sky, like she said, we both studied criminology, we both studied psychology, dealt with it for years in various aspects of my life. But
Personally and
it's
professionally for me.
it's very hard to determine how a person's going to react
Yep.
when it just walks up and punches them in the face.
Yeah. You got to
Yep.
be careful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
And we've got it. We have enough training under us to keep it under control. I don't think we're ever going to I've never had bad experiences. I've been able to bring people to levels of consciousness many times. I did it since I was 17 years old. It was a natural gift and an ability that I could do. It's a part of my purpose. And that's why I'm where I'm at. And that's why we're together working simultaneously with, everybody else, because you have to have the right formula.
The psychological human part. I'm very good with the math. I'm very good with the theories, but I have to run things by her to get the human psychological part of it that I may be missing because I don't quite see that clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't mean we agree on everything.
We don't.
But that's good because it keeps us both on our toes.
right. You can play off of each other and then get a wider
We
window.
need that. We need that.
I guess one last thing. This was the second part of that question. You mentioned like the 20 minutes, things went awry. Have you found in your experiences, your documented experiences, that these things happen seemingly in waves? In other words, you can be sitting there for an hour, nothing goes on. Then everything goes ballistic for, it could be seconds, could be minutes, whatever it is. Then it goes away.
Yes.
Yeah,
very
that might happen.
And then it just dies right back down.
Well,
and goes right back to
like a window opened, there it is. Boom.
His experiment that he was doing was for the environment of the house and the property at that time when that went that way.
Ori, okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I was
so that's
conditioning both the environment and the participants were also helping to manifest this in the environment.
right.
So when it all went, and I say batshit crazy just to get a joke, but when it all kind of went awry, it went awry for like a good 15, 20 minutes. Now we closed that portal.
Mm-hmm.
I know we did because everything went back to normal within 20 minutes or so, and there's been nothing else out of the normal for the Conjuring House since then.
Mm-hmm.
But for 15 minutes after, I would say 14 minutes, and I'm down to milliseconds on my experiments, by the way. For 14 minutes afterwards, things were still not quite right.
Right.
I mean, we were dealing with chandeliers, we were dealing with lights, we were dealing with footsteps and women laughing, which, by the way, it was 10 men in the house. No women were there. Running. God only knows what was above my head as I'm trying to have a team meeting and calm everybody down. And they're looking at me with their mouths wide open. And I'm like, what? And they're like, she's above you. And I'm like, what in the hell? I just need a minute here. I mean, it was bad. It got really crazy as I'm trying to make, even though I'm scientific, even though that I've calculated everything that can be calculated, when it gets to that point, it's hard to digest what's going on and get your brain to wrap around it and cooperate with you. and the human side of us comes out, and the scientific side of me was gone. And I'm like, what the hell you mean above me? You know, I mean, these ceilings, y'all been in there. The ceilings are right here.
Yeah.
And as I turn to look, something goes under the door frame, a white something, and is into the next room. And I go running in there and nothing. Now, I had seen the black mass probably 5 years earlier, 4 to 5 years. I don't remember when I was there when, do y'all remember when Ghost Adventures filmed the very first
Halloween
thing ever
live?
filmed at the Conjuring House for Ghost Adventures? That Halloween special?
That was a live one, right?
It was a live.
Yeah.
No, not a live one. They filmed it for the Halloween special. They were the very first ones to get into the Conjuring House, however many years ago. That was my first night in there. And I spent a week there then. I had seen the Black Mass over the years, but I had never seen anything white. And this was the first night I'd ever seen anything white. And then it was gone within 15, 14 minutes after closing the portal.
The atmosphere settling after the frequency change.
Yeah.
It's going to change. It's going to raise. It's going to lower. It's going to go all over the fucking place. We don't know what
windows are maybe where the frequencies are aligning, and maybe it takes a little while for them to disperse.
Right.
Those things align.
It had to dissipate.
The portal makes the window for the phenomena
Well,
to.
the experiment was 45 minutes and 13 seconds long. So in that 45 minutes, I subjected that house and those participants to a lot of frequencies to manifest certain things. So at the end of that 45 minutes, there had been a lot of energy raised and things had changed. And then it just, hey girl, how are you? And then right after that, it just dissipated.
That's
interesting. And that's something we see is like, whenever it happens, it's usually a short window.
Yeah.
So going back to where we started, and I just wanted, I'll say this again, that it's about the frequencies and vibrations. And this is how maybe you guys are able to get it aligned better and create that window on demand where the phenomena occurs. And then of course things are going to dissipate. And maybe that is the closing of the portal and some of those other things that are subjects that seem cloudy in people's minds when they hear people like us talk about them, you know? I think that's what you're hitting on. And I think
some of the things though takes years and decades to develop on certain levels.
Yeah.
But there is still a way to get from A to Z
And that's
that
what
amount
I'm
of time.
trying to do. I'm giving you a crash course.
It's crash course. You're going to go
Basically,
for, what do they call it? The ride?
Yes. Well, my participants, they call it the ride. And have you seen that little meme with I don't remember that actor's name, the comedian, but he's talking about, hey man, you got a little more of that, you know, and that's what they're like, hey man, can I take the ride? Can we do the ride? And I'm like,
yeah.
Well, we're gonna do it again. They're like, hey man, I need to take the ride again.
Yeah.
And I never called it the ride. They call it the ride. They're like, I got something to do. I got something to finish. I got to go back. For those that have experienced it, it is very, very real and very, I guess it should be surreal for them. And they're like, I'm not done yet. I need to go back. And I'm like, well, you can only go back so much because it takes months to put one of these experiments together. Months to put together a 45-minute experiment.
Wow.
And you figure the years between him and the years between how many years we have combined with even Justin? That's what.
Well, then when you bring
that's
in
88.
and
We got
Terry
almost 200 years.
Jeez.
If you think about it.
We designed this stuff.
It's a lot.
We could talk all night, but anyway.
You guys come back.
I've gotta feed my chihuahua. He needs his medicine, and I have to pee like a racehorse. But I love you guys.
This has been wonderful. We've been really loved having you guys. We'd love to have you back
you.
sometime. We can definitely get into some more stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic conversation. Our audience loved it. We loved it.
Yes. Thank
And
you again.
thank
We
you
appreciate
so much.
you.
We look forward to hearing more about the IDC projects and yourselves individually and what you're working on. Fantastic
Sure.
show. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much to have me on. I appreciate it. It was
Yeah,
an honor.
thanks, guys. See you
Awesome.
later.
Thank you.
Oh,
Don't blow her out.
sorry. We'll be right with you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
We'll
guys
see you
for
next
watching.
Thursday. Great show. Love these guys. Love you all in the audience. Thank you.
Thank you again.